Sunday dinner at my condo had become a monthly tradition I was starting to regret. This month, I arrived home from picking up dessert to find my entire family gathered around my dining table with calculators and notebooks spread across the surface. Perfect timing, Sam, my sister Christine said without looking up. We're almost done with the math. Math for what? For the condo sale, my brother Eric said, typing numbers into his phone. Mom's realtor friend says we can list at $340,000, maybe get $350,000 in this market. I set the dessert on the kitchen counter. You're selling my condo? We're liquidating a family asset, Dad corrected, adjusting his reading glasses. Christine needs $80,000 for her master's degree. Eric's business needs a $60,000 capital injection. Your mother and I could use $50,000 to finally renovate our kitchen. That leaves about $150,000 for you, which is more than fair since you'll need first and last month's rent somewhere. They divided up the proceeds from selling my home. While I was picking up cheesecake. When did we decide this? I asked carefully. Last Sunday when you were working late, Mom said. We had a family meeting. Everyone agreed it made sense. This condo is too nice for one person anyway. I live here. You live here now, Christine said. But Sam, be realistic. You're 32 and single. You don't need a 2-bedroom condo in the Pearl District. Get a studio apartment and use your share of the sale for something practical. My share of my condo that I'd bought 3 years ago with money I'd earned working 80-hour weeks as a software engineer. Who's your mom's realtor friend? I asked. Denise Carter, Mom said. She's giving us a family discount on commission. Only 4% instead of 6%. We'll save thousands. And she knows I'm selling? She knows the family is selling a property. She's coming by Wednesday to do the assessment and take photos of my condo that you don't own. Sam, don't start with the technicalities, Dad said. The down payment came from your grandfather's life insurance. That was family money. Grandfather's life insurance had paid out $40,000, split equally between his 3 grandchildren. I'd received $13,000. I'd used it as part of a $70,000 down payment on this $300,000 condo. The rest came from my savings. But in family mythology, my grandfather had somehow bought me the entire condo. I need to make a phone call, I said. Start dinner without me. In my bedroom, I dialed my building manager, Tom Chin. But Tom wasn't just the building manager. He was also the building owner, a detail my family had never bothered to learn. Tom, it's Sam. I need a favor. Can you come by my place in about 20 minutes? I'm having a situation. What kind of situation? The kind where my family is planning to sell my condo without my permission and I need the actual building owner to set them straight. Tom laughed. I'll be there in 15. Hold up. When I returned to the dining room, they'd moved on to discussing staging strategies. We'll need to remove your gaming setup, Christine was saying. It makes the second bedroom look cluttered. Buyers want to see it as a nursery or home office. My gaming setup in my second bedroom. The spare bedroom, Eric corrected. Which you barely use. Mom's right. This place is wasted on you. How is it wasted? I live here. I work from here 2 days a week. I use both bedrooms. But you could use less, Mom said. While Christine is struggling to afford her education. While Eric's trying to build a business. Family helps family, Sam. By giving up their homes. By making sacrifices for the greater good, Dad said. Your grandfather would want his life insurance money used to help everyone, not just you. His life insurance paid $13,000 toward my down payment. I paid the other $57,000. Plus closing costs. Plus 3 years of mortgage payments, HOA fees, property taxes and insurance. Still, Christine said, without Grandpa's money, you wouldn't have qualified for the mortgage. So really he bought you the condo. Now we need our share. The doorbell rang. Who's that? Mom asked, annoyed at the interruption. Building manager. I asked him to stop by to discuss some maintenance issues. I opened the door. Tom stood there in his usual casual Friday attire. Jeans and a blazer that somehow looked both relaxed and professional. Sam, good to see you. You mentioned some issues. Come in. I want you to meet my family. Tom followed me to the dining room, where my family looked up with polite but impatient expressions. Everyone, this is Tom Chin. He manages the building. Tom, this is my family. They're planning to sell my condo. Tom's expression didn't change, but I saw understanding flicker in his eyes. Are they now? Yes, Mom said. Though I'm not sure why Sam is bringing building management into a private family matter. Because, Tom said, pulling out his phone, I own the building. All 48 units. And I'm very interested in any plans to sell units I own the master deed for. The room went silent. You own the building? Eric asked slowly. I do. Purchased it as an investment property 8 years ago. Sam here is one of my best tenants. Always pays on time, maintains the unit beautifully, never causes problems. Tenants. Christine's voice cracked. Sam's a tenant? Well, technically Sam is a leaseholder with an equity arrangement. But let me show you something. Tom pulled up documents on his phone. This building operates under a unique ownership structure. I own the master deed. Individual units are leased long-term with equity participation. Residents build equity through their monthly payments, but I retain ownership until the equity arrangement matures. How long until maturity? Dad asked, his face pale. 20 years from the initial lease date. Sam's arrangement began 3 years ago, so 17 years remaining. Revelation. This is insane, Christine said. Sam told us he bought this condo. I have an equity lease with a path to ownership, I said. Which I explained 3 years ago when I moved in. You all said, that's nice, and asked if I had beer in the fridge. You never said you didn't own it, Mom protested. I said I had an equity lease arrangement. I showed you the paperwork. You didn't listen. Tom was scrolling through his phone. Here we are. Sam's lease agreement, Section 7. Leaseholder may not sell, transfer, or assign interest in property without written consent of property owner. Any attempt to sell without authorization constitutes breach of contract and grounds for immediate termination of equity arrangement. So if Sam tried to sell? Eric trailed off. Sam would lose all equity built up over 3 years. About $42,000 at this point. And would need to vacate within 30 days. But our realtor, Mom started. Your realtor would be attempting to sell property she has no authority to sell, Tom said. That's fraud. I'd have to report it to the state real estate board. We didn't know, Dad said weakly. You didn't ask, I corrected. You assumed. Then you planned a family meeting without me to divide up proceeds from selling my home. We were trying to help Christine, Mom said desperately. She needs that degree. Then help her another way. Not by destroying my housing and my equity. Christine stood up abruptly. I can't believe you'd lie to us about owning this place. I didn't lie. I have equity in a lease-to-own arrangement. You heard equity, and decided that meant I owned it outright. It's the same thing. It's legally very different, Tom said. And the difference matters when you're trying to sell it. Eric was staring at his calculator. So there's no money? No $350,000 to split. There's no sale. Sam can't sell without my permission, which won't be given until year 20 of the lease. And you definitely can't sell on Sam's behalf. This is ridiculous, Christine said, tears forming. How am I supposed to pay for grad school? Student loans. Like everyone else. Like I did for my engineering degree. You had Grandpa's life insurance. I had $13,000 that I used as part of a much larger down payment. You got the same $13,000. What did you spend yours on? Silence. That's what I thought, I said quietly. You spent it. I invested mine. Now you want access to my investment. Tom cleared his throat. I should mention, if Denise Carter shows up Wednesday to photograph this unit, I'll need to inform her that she's been hired under false pretenses. That could affect her license. We'll call her, Dad said quickly. Cancel the whole thing. Good idea, Tom said. He turned to me. Sam, if you have any other issues with unauthorized access or attempts to sell, call me immediately. Your lease agreement gives you exclusive rights to the unit. That includes keeping out family members trying to sell it. Thanks, Tom. After Tom left, my family sat in uncomfortable silence. Resolution. Well, Mom finally said, this has been a disaster. This has been enlightening, I corrected. You all assumed you had rights to my home. You planned to sell it. You divided up money that wasn't yours. We were trying to help family, Christine said sullenly. By making me homeless. That's not help. You could have just explained the lease situation better, Eric tried. I did explain it. 3 years ago. You didn't care about the details then because you didn't want anything from me yet. Dad stood up slowly. I think we should go. Clearly we've overstepped. Clearly. They gathered their things in silence. Mom paused at the door. When you do own this place outright, will you help Christine then? In 17 years? Maybe Christine will have figured out student loans by then. After they left, I sat alone in my living room. My leased living room with equity that would become full ownership in 17 years if I didn't do anything stupid like let my family sell it out from under me. My phone buzzed. A text from Tom. You okay? Yeah. Thanks for the backup. Anytime. Your family is something else. Tell me about it. Another text from Christine. This isn't over. We're going to figure out a way to get what we deserve. I blocked her number. The next morning I changed my locks and updated my building access codes. Tom had already flagged my unit as requiring owner approval for any real estate activity. Mom called twice. I didn't answer. Eric sent an email with a business proposal that somehow involved me taking out a home equity loan on property I didn't fully own yet. I deleted it. 2 weeks later Aunt Marie called. Your mother told me what happened. She feels you embarrassed the family. I stopped them from committing fraud. They just wanted to help Christine. They wanted to sell my home without permission. That's not help, that's theft. Family doesn't steal from family. Then what do you call planning to sell someone's home and split the money while they're picking up dessert? She didn't have an answer for that. 3 months later, I heard Christine had gotten a graduate assistantship that covered her tuition. Eric's business had folded and he'd gotten a regular job. My parents had renovated their kitchen with a home equity loan. None of them had needed money from selling my condo. They just wanted the easy solution instead of the responsible one. I sat in my living room, the living room I'd have full ownership of in 17 years, the living room my family had tried to sell for parts, and felt grateful for lease agreements, building owners who answered their phones, and the legal difference between equity and ownership. My family had learned that difference the hard way. And I'd learned to keep my lease documents handy for the next time they decided family money meant their money. Tom texted me a few days later. So your family tried to contact the HOA about your unit. I shut it down. You're good. I smiled and replied, best landlord ever. Best tenant ever. Keep paying on time and in 17 years, this place is all yours. Counting the days. My condo. My lease. My equity. My boundary. And finally my family understood they couldn't sell what they didn't own, no matter how much they needed the money.